Welcome everyone to the Pro Trader Room Plus and the Market Open. My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember, all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. All right, everybody. We're back and we are now waiting for the market open. We had a very nice CPI trade. A lot of people made money. And now it's just a little bit of a wait and see. The market so far has liked the CPI news. We have a couple of different setups that we've been using on the open. Currently, we've got the MNQ. We have an open. We have a YM trade. You don't have to trade both. You can trade whatever you like, obviously. Many different instruments work on the open. You could certainly find a setup for the ES, MES. Some folks are trading the RTY with an open trade. We've looked at gold on the 930 open. Now, gold has its own open. Gold opens at 820. And we did not trade gold today on CPI. It looks like everything had a breakout today. So I'm kind of glad I avoided gold. I was probably leaning more towards a trap on gold. And I just looking at a 1-minute chart, trading the trap on gold might not have been a great outcome. Gold had a 134 tick candle at 8:30. I'm not saying it moved in one direction. I can't tell that on a 1-minute chart. You have to go deeper. But it certainly had a pretty nice move, probably a breakout, because almost every instrument was a breakout. A couple of instruments we didn't look at that are interesting to trade. The Japanese yen, we used to trade it all the time. When I first got here, the Japanese yen was one of our main choices of U.S. news. It had a lot of wick, but it had a pretty big move. We did not used to trade the euro. Then after I was here for years, we started trying the euro. Never the greatest instrument to trade for us. It often has very good moves on U.S. news, but it's definitely a little bit more difficult to trade on U.S. news. The Japanese yen was a little bit more solid. And then, of course, bonds, even with the problems. The problem with bonds is many of the prop accounts don't allow them. And we don't really know why. We don't know why, right? Hang on, there was just some sort of a chip report that wasn't very good. We'll see, it'll come through. Oh, it was a Chinese government report discouraging the use of NVIDIA's H20 chips. So, of course, that's going to be not good for NVIDIA. Look, the Chinese government makes their own chips. They want people to buy their chips first. That's probably exacerbating this pullback a little bit. And just out of curiosity, What does ChatGPT say about bonds not being allowed? So you're a professional futures trader. Why do some prop companies not allow bond futures to be traded? They don't know. It's like just a loaded incorrect. So it's kind of interesting. They're not saying the reason why um, they told us, which was something to do with scams, right? So if you tell GPT it's about scams, then they explain what the scam was. All right. So it's a little bit complicated to get into here. So if you want to read about it, you could type into your artificial intelligence engine and ask it about bond scamming and why prop firms don't allow it. It's a question, what they say is it's an issue of the resources required to police it are not worth it. They'd rather just not allow the trading because of the enormous resources required to police the issue. And I can understand that to some degree. I mean, we do have computers, right? All right, let's talk about our market open setups. Now, one interesting thing about that Australia report last night, it was at midnight on the East Coast. That's like 6 in the morning in the UK. I have no idea what time that is in Australia. I'd have to look that up. Um, and that report doesn't get a lot of people coming to trade it, but it's been profitable for quite a few months, quite a few sessions. Sometimes, I'm not going to schedule a late night or a super early morning trade room unless there's a very good opportunity. That's really the key, the opportunity. If there isn't one, I don't want to be there either. So if we have a midnight trade room, it usually means because there's a good opportunity. And the Australia report, it's gone through many phases. It was a trap trade for a short period of time, but it's mostly been a breakout for many years, and it's been a good report to trade. We've made quite a bit of money on that report over the years. So just a reminder, if you see a midnight trade room, it usually means it's a good report to trade, or I wouldn't schedule it because midnight for me is midnight. I don't feel like trading at midnight unless it's something special. I got you, Nitin. Hey, Nitin, you know what I do because I forget everything? I just set a million alarms in my phone all day long. If I didn't set alarms in my phone, I mean, we have so many trade rooms some days, you know, I just set alarms to make sure I make everything. But that's one, if I had not set my alarm, I would have slept through it. I was sleeping like a baby last night when my alarm went off at midnight. And, and that gives me enough time to get ready for that particular trade room. All I need is like 5 minutes to wake up, clear my head. But wow, I was dreaming like a little baby. Because like WASD, that's the WASD's coming up today. I need to set an alarm for that because that's an easy one to miss. 11:30 in the morning, I could miss it by just, forgetting that it's today. Anyway, let's check out our YM Open, our strategy that I've been using on the YM Open. I have a template for it. I'm going to load it up. So I have a YM Open. Right now I've got it dated July 21st. And I'm going to rename it and call it 812 because it's more current. And I don't know if that worked. Let me check and see if I did. I might not have done that properly. Yep. All right. So the YM, double click it and it loads. So we're triggering at 929.59 a bracket of 40. Targets of 25 and 50 and stop of 35. If my target gets hit, I'll move my stop to break even if my first target gets hit. Not a huge stop on this trade, but it's been working nicely. And then I label it YM Open. We have a special account that we traded in, but we always check our brackets first by setting the time to 0. Putting the charts on sim and making sure that the software is on sim inside the strategy, and you know it is if when you check on the control panel and the account says sim. So then you can enable 0 time like we always do, and you'll get brackets as soon as there's price movement. And then you can shrink your brackets to a manageable size. Now, a magnet on the open is a nice trade to take. MYM, I would do the same, Sander. I'd double the stop. I'd use a 75 stop minimum. Minimum. All right. I think we also have an MNQ setup that's more test. For me, it's more tested than the MYM. So that's the YM setup. So I go back, put the time back to 9:29:59. Bracket of 40, 25 and 50 on the targets. Stop at 35. Don't forget to label the trade YM Open and then choose the account. Number 15 is our open trading account. And then put the charts on 15. And I do definitely put a secondary setup on every chart for an open, a YM reverse continuation, add a second strategy, reverse continuation. I'm just trading one position, and I'll do a 50 target and a 40 stop, and that would be discretionary, possibly after the open or if the open is canceled. So I'll call that YM reverse continue. Same account, opens 15. And then the MNQ open. So I saved a template, MNQ open, load. We'll go over to it. MNQ open, and I'm going to name that, make it more current also, rename it from July. We're going to also make that August, so it's more current. That's got a bracket of 30, 929.59, targets of 25 and 50 with a stop of 150. It's a pretty big stop. You can make your second target bigger, but what we usually do is trail anyway. The goal is to get your stop to safety and be able to trail if things go in one direction. So a bracket of 30, targets of 25 and 50, break even if target 1 is hit, and a 150 stop. Pretty big stop on the MYM. People use bigger on the MNQ, I mean. It's labeled MNQ open, then we do the same thing. We put our time on 0 to just check that the bracket is tradable. It's not all squished is what we're making sure of. It's a pretty tight range. Not a pretty tight range, a pretty tight bracket. The MNQ on the net change display indicator should be on points because that's how the NQ is calculated, by points. Right now it's up 93 points. Right, Arthur, yes. When you turn on a reverse continue, you get your discretionary buttons. Yep. So our MNQ. The only thing I don't like about the bracket management on the NQ, MNQ, is I can't see the high of the day because the chart is spread pretty wide because there's been so much movement on the MNQ. But for now, I need to see the bracket. So 9, 29, 59 is our trigger time. And then also account 15. And I would also set up a reverse continue on account number 15 for the MNQ. So I'll add a second strategy, choose reverse continue, and I'll trade two contracts, one position, and I'll go for 80 tick target. Start with 100 stop. And that's all I need. I have a position, number of contracts, a target, and a stop. It's going to be MNQ, reverse continue on the label. And it's the same account, number 15 is our open account. Apply it and OK it. When you enable a reverse continue, your buttons show up for instant long, instant short, which is discretionary. Okay? That's discretionary. For some reason, folks, the chat on YouTube is not working, so I can't chat. But if you have anything to say, I do see it on my laptop. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask and I'll answer them. And thanks for joining us on YouTube. If you hit the like button, we would really appreciate it. But even more important, if you hit the notification, you'll know the next time we are going to stream because we'll send a notification to your phone. YouTube will send a notification. On August 1st, we did this same setup. We had the MNQ on the left and the YM in the middle. The MNQ immediately hit its targets. You can definitely make target 2 bigger if you want to on any setup. Now the YM, we were just simming the YM that day. We weren't trading it live. And then we also traded on August 4th, the open. And the YM was on the right, MNQ on the left. Today I'm doing the opposite. This was last week. We were just watching the YM, trading the MNQ. MNQ filled, quick target, one was hit, and then we extended our second target so we could trail. And sometimes, you'll trail a bit and it'll pull back and the trade will be over. That happens all the time. So now we're just waiting for the open. Two and a half minutes or so. Will the market, the market, like the CPI news overall in general, will it go up on the open? That's what you don't know. You don't want to guess and trade it right? All right. So we're just watching now. I've got family craziness going on. My ex-wife is in the hospital. So there's always something going on. Always. Everybody has everything going on in their lives. We got 1 minute. So I'll watch the YM closer because it's a lot more risk on the YM than the MNQ. The MNQ, I'll just let it trade unless it needs intervention. I'm always curious if I would trade it the way I think it's going to go. This morning we've got bullish trends in the markets, CPI news that the market liked. So I would think, the average retail trader would think, yeah, it's going to go up on the open. But we know a lot about market open behavior. You've got gap fills that take you in the opposite direction sometimes. All sorts of stuff that happens. Now, the MNQ filled short rather quickly. The YM filled long. It looks like the MNQ is going to push up. The YM is trying to push up. Now, maybe the YM will test the high. So I'll move my second target closer to the high. See if we get a little bit of a push. Our trade is pretty small stop. I'd rather put my stop below all the movement, but it is a pretty big stop. That's the worry, that it's a pretty big stop. Now it's losing a little momentum on the upside. It's definitely losing momentum. Not totally. So now it's changing. You get a lot of chop on the opens. It can be very, very nerve-wracking to trade the open. So, and you could decide to be aggressive. The NQ filled down, so I'm expanding that target. The YM, I'm combining my orders for just a small profit. The NQ, it went up and down, so I'm turning off the breakout on the NQ, expanding my YM just a little bit, see if maybe it'll hit the target. Okay, bingo. the YM gave us a profit. Now it'll probably go test the high. I'm very aggressive on the YM because it's a lot of risk. It's a lot of risk. Now it'll probably test the high. I'm turning off the breakout. Just because I think it's going to test the high doesn't automatically mean I'm going to jump back in. It is not, it's got some nice volume on the upside. So it does look possible it's going to test that high. I may just take my profit this morning. I'm actually quite happy taking my profit. We made money on CPI, we made money on Australia, and I made about $125-$130 on the YM and about $40 on the MNQ, and I'm okay with that this morning. So that's how I'm going to leave it. That's how I'm going to leave it. I like our setups. They seem to survive long enough to manage the open so that you can get out with a small profit. You can get out with a small loss. You can be patient. I like the setups because currently they give you the opportunity to make a profit. Now, the MNQ, you could take a test of the high for very low risk if you wanted to. But it almost seems to me like these markets are they're about where they want to be, it seems. I'm not sure they're bursting. So I'm gonna watch what it does. I made some money and I'm okay with that this morning. Nitin, thank you for the screenshots. I love that. So it does look like the YM is gonna get there and the NQ is gonna get there. But I made my decision. It's going there without me this morning. We still have a whole bunch, couple more trades for today. We've had a very nice profitable morning. And but it is seems clear the YM it wants to test the high. It's getting close now. It's about 30 ticks away. It's still a profit there. Nice, Nitin, very nice. Good trade, TJ. Nothing wrong with that. MYM worked fine. MNQ worked. MNQ scared you if you traded it. It got scary for a minute. Looked like it was going to go against us first, but it just shows you could win on the side you don't expect, and then the market could go back to the way it wanted to go, if you know what I mean. That's very good, TJ. Good trading. Over 300 scalp. So, anybody have any questions about the open? I want to thank everyone on YouTube. Thanks for joining with us. I couldn't. There is a link for joining with us on the website. I can't put it in the chat this morning because the chat's not working. But thank you everyone on YouTube. If you hit the like button on your way out, we'd love it. And hit the notification bell as well. Okay, and we will be back. We're going to be streaming WASD at 11:30. So we will be back at 11:30. So I'll see everybody on YouTube in a little bit.